tonight what I heard to do was the judgment of the Holy Spirit. And that is in chapter 11. We're in the original edition, section 2, original edition. And just for starters, for any of those of you who are new here, and also any of those you folks who are watching on the internet who are new to the course, this section is called the judgment of the Holy Spirit. What is the Holy Spirit? The Holy Spirit is your higher mind. It is the aspect of yourself that remained exactly as love created you when you were created. So really it's you, but the part of you, your right mind, your sane mind, your higher mind, that you have dissociated from yourself, okay? So since we have dissociated that part of us, the totally sane, totally awake, totally at peace, our right mind, since we've dissociated it, now our right mind has to come to us as if it's something separate from us, as if it's like a guide or a friend or a guide through a far country or a guide through an infinitely small maze that we call time. So now we learn, oh, I have this friend, I have this guide, it's called Holy Spirit, it's called my higher mind. I'm learning to be in communication with it, I'm learning to listen to it, I'm learning to ask it questions before I decide anything. So, but the truth is that it's really us coming to us going, hey, okay, you've rejected me, but that's all right. I'll come to you as a friend. I'll just talk to you as if we're friends. And then someday you'll realize, oh, that's you, that's me. So that when it says the Holy Spirit, that's what A Course in Miracles is talking about. It's talking about your higher mind. And it's the spark of divinity. It's the voice that God gave you to speak for your real self and for God when you decided to separate and go separate. Okay? So that's what the Holy Spirit is. Now, so it says, in this section it says, there is only one interpretation of all motivation that makes any sense. There's how many interpretations of other people's motivation that makes any sense? How many? One. There's only one interpretation of other people's motivation and your own that makes any sense. Okay? One. Okay. Then it says, and because this one interpretation of all motivation, because it is your higher mind's judgment, then this interpretation of other people's motivation requires no effort at all on your part. Okay, so there's an interpretation of other people's motivations behind their behavior. There's an interpretation of other people's motivations that requires no effort on your part. You don't have to go, I wonder why they are doing that. I wonder what that's about. I wonder, gee, I know what they're interpreting. I wonder what it is. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to analyze anymore. Because this one interpretation of their motivation comes from truth, comes from love, this interpretation of their motivation requires no effort at all on your part. Okay. I wonder what that interpretation of people's motivation, the one that's accurate, I wonder what it is. Wow. Okay, so we spend a humongous amount of energy interpreting and analyzing other people's motives. Has anybody noticed that? I mean, we could power some generators. We could power the planet with the amount of energy we put into analyzing other people's motivations, why they do what they do, why they are the way that they are, why they said that, why they did that, what that means, and on, right? We could power the planet, now couldn't we? With all the energy that we put into figuring out and analyzing other people's motivations, the motivations for their behavior. Wow. Now, what if we took all that energy and put it into, I don't know, something like love? Now he's saying that if you use, when you are with others and you are tempted to analyze their motives, if you were to only use one interpretation for other people's motives, only one interpretation, since it would require no effort at all on your part, you'd be saving yourself a ton of energy. A ton of energy that you were exerting in being totally wrong and inaccurate. A ton of energy that you were putting into actually what was hurting you. Wow. Interesting. Okay, so I could use some more energy efficiency. How about you guys? All right, I'll save myself some energy, okay, so that I can put it into some better things like loving, like forgiving, like being creative, like healing my body. Imagine all that energy could go for my body doing what it naturally does when it has the energy, which is healing itself, right? All right, so here it goes. This is the one interpretation of other people's motivations, the only one that makes any sense, that requires no effort at all on your part, and it is this. Every loving thought is true, period. Everything else is an appeal for healing and help, period. That's it. That's it. What? How can it all be that and only that? Okay, so what is the one interpretation of everybody's motivation that it makes any sense, that is true and requires no effort on your part at all? Every what thought is true? Every loving thought is true. And what is everything else?
An appeal for help.
An appeal for help and healing. That's it. That is the one interpretation of other people's motivation. That's the only one that's right, that will ever be right. And it's the only interpretation of other people's motivations that won't hurt you. Wow. Okay. Now, I'm probably not the only one in here who's been making some other interpretations. A lot other interpretations of people's motivations lately. Every day, correct? Okay, all right. Let's just, for instance, pull up an upset that you experienced today. Pick one, anyone. They're all the same. Any upset you had today, pick up one. Now, ask yourself, when I was assessing that and analyzing that, was I thinking to myself, oh, gee, well, that wasn't a loving thought, so that must have just been their call for love? Anyone? You did? Well, good. You did? All right. Yeah, man in the white t-shirt in the front row. Not coincidentally, the guy who was laughing during the meditation.
Right.
So,
still behind that door, trying to come back.
Oh, I see. All right. Okay. Okay, here we go. Now he says, so either when somebody is, when you are analyzing somebody's behavior and you are interpreting their motivation, why are they like that? Why did they do that? What is wrong with them? What is their problem? The only interpretation that you could make that would be accurate and that would not hurt you, the only one that would be accurate is to say, if it's not loving, it's a call for help and healing. That's all it is. Wow. All right. Now, here we go. He says, now that is what it is. That is the motivation behind their behavior. That is what it is, regardless of the form that their behavior takes. Did it say regardless of the form their behavior takes? Okay, all right. Then it says, can we be justified in responding with anger to a plea for help? So if it's just a call for help, if it's a call for help and healing, then is our anger in response justified? Not if it's a call for help and healing. Thank you, James. Not if it's a call for help and healing. No, our anger isn't justified as a response if it's just a call for help and healing, if their thoughts aren't loving. Wow, okay. And not only that, but no response to them can be appropriate except the willingness to give them help. If they're just calling for help and healing, and that's what's going on behind whatever they're doing, then the only appropriate response is what? To give help, to offer help. Why? Because help and only help and healing is what they are asking for. Wow. Now, granted, it really doesn't seem like that's what they're really asking for or wanting when they are acting a fool, correct? It doesn't seem like that at all. When they're screaming in your face, when they're telling you what you did to them, when they're telling you you're the problem, when they're telling you what you did to them again, when they're telling you what you did wrong, when they are doing that thing again that you hate, it really doesn't seem at all, in no way, shape, or form, like what's really going on behind that crazy behavior is that they are calling for help and healing. It really doesn't, correct? It really doesn't. The eyes do not report a call for help and healing. Yes.
Don't make a phone call.
All righty. You're going to go answer a call for help and healing?
Something like that.
Something like that. Ring, ring. Call for help and healing. Call for help and healing. That's what I'm going to change my ringtone to. Call for help and healing. Call for help and healing. Because that's all it is. Thank you, James. You remind me of that later, James. Remember, you said you're going to change your ringtone to call for help and healing. Call for help and healing. Because truly, that's what it is. Unless they are speaking of love, feeling of love, thinking of love, all they're doing, the only other possibility that they could be doing is, oh, I need love, I have forgotten I am love, I have forgotten I'm love, oh, I need love, I need love, I have forgotten I'm love, I need love. I have forgotten that I have help, I need help. I have forgotten that I am love, I need help. I've forgotten that I'm abundant. I have forgotten that I'm invulnerable as a spirit that God created. I need help. I need love. The eyes never report that until the mind gets it. The eyes only report the outside form of the behavior. Okay? The outside form. Wow. But once we begin practicing with this fact, then your eyes will see. You'll be with somebody and they'll be going off. They're insane. They're angry. They're upset. They're mad. They're guilty. They're sick. They're dying. And now all you see is the child of God behind there going, I need love. I have forgotten who I am. I'm scared. I'm scared. I need love. Love. Now that's what eyes that can see. That's what the higher mind sees. All it sees is a child of God going, help. I need love. I need help. I'm scared. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I am. I don't know what I'm doing.
I'm not.
Thank you, James. I don't know what I'm doing. That's all that our right mind, our higher mind sees. Now, you don't have to be able to see it first. All our curriculum is asking us to do is to practice that idea so that when somebody is before us and their behavior is whatever, and we're tempted to analyze their behavior, their motivation, to say to ourselves, to say, while we're looking at their behavior, what does it say? Every loving thought is true, everything else is a call for healing and help. This is a call for healing and help. This is a call for healing and help. So you're asked to apply the truth first, and then you will see that it's true. Okay? All right. Now, would not this be a very different approach to our daily interactions? Okay. Now, then it says this. If you, it says, no response can be appropriate except the willingness to give help to them, because help and healing, and only that, is what they are asking for. If you offer them anything else but help and healing, then here's what you're doing. You're assuming the right to attack their reality by interpreting their reality as you see fit. Okay.
Like if you said, why are you acting this way?
Why are you
It's
acting?
an attack.
Yes.
Why is an attack?
If
If
you're
you're just like, why are you acting this way?
exactly. And typically when we're like, why are you acting this way? We've already made an interpretation of why they're acting that way.
Right, which was the attack.
Exactly. So there's one of two things. So if you are going, if you're in your mind going, I know you're doing this because you're in this, and you're analyzing their motivation. You're analyzing their motivation. Instead of going, call for love, they're calling for love. The only other thing that you could be doing if you're not saying love or call for love is attacking their reality. What does that mean, to attack other people's reality? Well, anytime you assume the right to interpret their reality as you see fit. I know why they are the way they are. I know why they just did that behavior. I know what they said means. I know why they said that. I know why they did that. You are attacking their reality. You are assuming the right to interpret their reality as you see fit in the moment, according to your mood. That's attacking their reality. Wow. So if I'm not saying, hey, if it ain't love, they're calling for love. If they're not giving love, it's a call for love. I am assuming the right to interpret their reality as I see fit. Wow.
Is this where the problem and the answer come together? I mean, if I interpret their reality, say they're doing this, then I automatically know what to do in response to that.
That's right.
If I do see it as just a call for help,
Yes.
I will also know how to be loving
Yes.
in that time. You don't have to worry about what to do.
That's exactly right.
It will
And
be
thank you for saying that. That when it says if you offer them anything but help and healing, then you're just attacking their reality. Okay? It doesn't mean that you sit there and try to figure out what kind of help they need and you try to give that to them. It means that, it is very profound, it means that that just seeing their behavior, if it's not loving, as a call for help and healing is offering them help. Correct? If you really want to help me, please, when I'm insane, when I am in my ego, I'm upset, I'm hurt, I'm angry, I'm sick, I'm broke. When I am in my ego like that, truly, if you want to help me, see it as that I'm calling for love. I'm calling for help. I'm calling for healing. That's helpful. That's helpful, believe me. That's the only kind of help I want now. Right? I don't want someone sitting there analyzing, well, how'd you get into this situation? I don't want somebody sitting there in their mind analyzing why I'm doing the crazy behavior I'm doing. I don't want someone analyzing how I got into this mess. Well, gee, I wonder what kind of crazy you were doing that got you into this mess. Now, you know you're doing this to yourself, don't you? That's not the kind of help I want. I want somebody to go, hey, you know, Anna is love. And if she's not expressing real love right now, then she's really obviously she's forgotten and she's asking for the love that she's denied herself. That's the kind of help. Wouldn't you rather have that kind of help than somebody trying to be like, I'm going to fix you. Because I'm the better and the higher and the more enlightened of the two, I'm gonna correct you. That never feels good, right? When somebody decides what's wrong with you and then they decide that they're gonna fix you. That never feels good, right? But when you just know that they are love, they've just forgotten it, and so they're calling for the love that they have forgotten that they are. That's helpful to people because you are a silent reminder. You're a peaceful, loving, silent reminder, mirror witness of that in their presence. So offering them the help and the healing they're asking for just means seeing their behavior, seeing their motivation for their behavior as the call for love, the call for help and healing. Does that make sense? So thank you for bringing that up, Jim. Okay. Now, everybody present? Any questions or comments before we go on? Any, yes, bud, have you met you know who? I know, that's not just a call for help. That's an active attack. They're not just calling for love, they're a jerk. They're a creep. Any yes buts on that one?
Is this an opportunity for us to, when we don't know what to do other than we see that,
Yes.
that's our opportunity to listen and be told.
Exactly, thank you, yeah. You applying the higher mind's judgment of this person's behavior, if you are meant to give them help in a physical sense, you will be told. You know, your helpfulness is just seeing their motivation as either love or call for love. That's all. That's your job. If it's you that the help is supposed to come through physically, you will be told. And it will be effortless and joyous for both. There'll be no sacrifice. It will entail no sacrifice for either one of you. Okay? How do you know when spirit doesn't need you to help? How do you know when spirit isn't using you to physically help them? You know that spirit's not asking you to physically help them when it would feel like a sacrifice on your part. That's how you know that spirit's not going to be using you for the physical help. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Okay. Then it says perhaps, just perhaps, the danger of interpreting people's motivations in your own way. Perhaps the danger of doing that to your own mind is not yet fully apparent to you. But just because it's not apparent to you is by no means signifies that it's not perfectly obvious. What are you saying? What's perfectly obvious? What's perfectly obvious is that analyzing the motives of others for anything besides love or call for love is dangerous to you. Notice it didn't pick a really mild word there. It picks the word dangerous. Interpreting the motives of others besides love or call for love is dangerous to you. Now, just because you don't see that doing that is dangerous to you doesn't mean it's not totally obvious. It's totally obvious, even if it's not obvious to you. Okay, analyzing the motives of others, dangerous to me. Interpreting people's reality as I see fit, dangerous to me, to my peace of mind. Okay? It says, but if you maintain, so why is it dangerous? If you maintain that somebody's call for help is something besides a call for help, then guess what you're going to do? You will react to the something else. And then your response will be completely inappropriate to reality, to the reality of the situation as it is, but of course not to your perception of the situation. That's what's dangerous to you in analyzing the motives of other people. Says that if you see that their behavior is not coming from a call for love, call for help and healing, then you're going to react to something else besides a call for love and a call for healing. You're going to be reacting to something else. And so your reaction is going to be completely inappropriate. You're going to be reacting completely inappropriately to what's really going on. Hell, I do that all the time. We're doing that all the time. Anytime we're upset and we're reacting to something besides the call for love, we're reacting completely inappropriate. Everything's overblown. We're seeing things that aren't there. We're seeing things that didn't happen. We're hearing things that weren't said. Anybody recognize this, by the way? It's easy to recognize when somebody's reacting inappropriately to you. You're like, what are you talking about? You're insane. I didn't say that. I didn't do that. That's not what my motivation was. It's easy to see that when somebody's reacting, when somebody's going off on you. But when we are going off on somebody, it's a little less easy to see that we are completely reacting inappropriately to what isn't going on, to what wasn't said, to what didn't happen. Does anybody recognize that? So if you are reacting to anything besides that, their motivation for that was they're calling for love. They're calling for help and healing. Then you're going to be reacting inappropriately. Wow. Unless I'm seeing call for love, I'm reacting to that call for love, I'm reacting to a call for love. You are reacting inappropriately to reality of the situation as it is. Wow. But of course not to your perception of it. That's why analyzing the motives of others, anything different in this way, is hazardous to you. Hazardous. Because you're going to be going off over nothing, for nothing, for nothing.
And that's a tie-in back to the beginning of chapter 6, talking about anger and how we justify
Yes.
our anger or our attack.
Yes.
Is that we believe that we've already been attacked,
Yes.
and we're not responsible for attacking them back because they did it to me first.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And here, can you be justified in responding with anger to a person's plea for help and healing? If you see it as what it is in reality, then anger isn't justified. Only this compassion is. Wow. So, we've been doing some inappropriate reacting, haven't we? Just a little. For just a few lifetimes. Wow. Interesting. Yes, I have been doing a lot of inappropriate reacting to what was never said, what was never done. Wow. To what wasn't there. Wasting my peace, wasting my body, wasting my time, wasting my relationships. Why? Because I was insisting on interpreting their reality as I saw fit. Instead of going, every loving thought is true, Everything else that they're expressing is their call for love. Wow, I want to stop wasting that kind of time. I want to stop wasting that kind of energy. I want to stop wasting my peace. I want to stop wasting my body. And I want to stop wasting my relationships for nothing. For nothing. And for something that wasn't even true. Wow.
I join with you on that.
Right on. Man in the white t-shirt in the front row says he joins with me on that. Yay! Again, the guy who was laughing in the meditation.
I second the motion.
Right on. Okay.
There you go.
Accomplished. All right. The Course in Miracles does say all it takes is two to agree for something to be created. That's all it takes. That's where creation comes from. Two people say, I agree. Yes. That's where the creative power is. That's where creation goes. So if you want to create something, then join with others in agreeing upon it. Where you both say yes. You say yes to that. All
So
right.
Is this a way of getting us back to, this was just a call for help means, the Course also talks about, if I'm reacting to someone's anger or attack, that's the effects of their fear.
Yes.
So I'm not reacting to what the cause is, but to the effect.
That's exactly right.
And so if I see that all these others are secondary emotions,
That's right.
anything that doesn't feel good to me
That's right.
isn't love, is a product of fear, and this is the form it took.
That's exactly
So
right.
when anything doesn't
That's
feel right, I say, make them feel safe,
Amen.
because that's what's causing all of this.
Exactly. There's the behavior that you see with your eyes and you hear and you sense, and then there's the motivation. Here's their behavior, that's what you see. Here's the behavior, and what's behind it is their motivation. It is right behind it. The body's eyes see this, the behavior. And our teacher is teaching us to see beyond what our body's eyes see, beyond the outside form, to the motivation. And our teacher is teaching us that there's only one motivation. There's only really one motivation going on behind any negative, egotistical behavior. And that is the motivation that is a call for help and healing. That's
Because
it.
they're afraid.
Because they're afraid, exactly.
Because anytime we leave love, we become afraid.
It's exactly right. If somebody's behavior is not loving or lovable, it's not coming from love, it's not expressing love, then the motivation, the one motivation behind it is that person has forgotten that they are love. They've forgotten that they are loved and loving. They forgot that they are loved, loving, lovable, and they are desperately calling for the love which they have forgotten and denied themselves. That's it. It says that is the only thing that's going on behind their unloving, fearful behavior. That's it. Period. End of story. There will never, ever, ever be any other motivation behind their ego behavior. Ever. And if you're responding to anything else besides that call for love and the help for healing behind it, then you are reacting irresponsibly. You are reacting, what's the word? Inappropriately. You will be reacting inappropriately. Now, whenever you are reacting inappropriately to what's going on, then you are producing a situation that's dangerous to you. Why? Because you're going to be totally out of step with your environment. You are going to be completely out of sync. You're going to be hearing things that weren't said. You're going to be seeing things that aren't there. You're going to be responding to things that didn't happen. That's the danger of interpreting people's motivations any other way but that. Love or call for love. That's your higher mind's one judgment. The higher mind's one judgment. So the higher mind's always like this. Love or call for love, love or call for love, love or call for love. Our judgment is like, well, I know why they did that. Oh, I'm sure that, and la 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 la, and this is why they did it, and this is how they did it, and da 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 da, and that's why they did it, and this is what that means, this is why they get, and this is why they are the way they are, and this is why they did that, and da 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 da, and this is what they're really saying, and this is what they're really meaning. And so my attack is appropriate. Wow. That's dangerous to us. Dangerous to our peace. Dangerous to our peace. Because now we are out of sync. We are in delusion. We're in a fantasy, and not a happy one. All right. Shall we go on? Yes,
Well, I was going to say, what can, so, what about if the calls for love or rapid fire machine gun bullets or it feels like they're coming at you over and over again, and isn't that also dangerous? Doesn't that also provide some situations where that can be dangerous to the person who as well?
If while they were doing their rapid fire, what looks to you like an attack, like rapid fire, if in your mind you're like, call for love, 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 they're calling for love, they're calling for love, they're calling for love, and you are like equally rapid fire with call for love, call for love, call for love, call for love, then whatever was coming in would be deflected. It would like you would have a shield. Not an angry shield, but you would have a light shield, and it would go bling, bling. And also that awareness, that correct interpretation of their motivation would go right through their defense into their heart. And then you would probably watch the person go calm. So that's how that works. Okay? All right. So then it says when you are reacting inappropriately because you're interpreting inappropriately, inaccurately, it says that is very poor reality testing by definition. Now, there is nothing to prevent you from recognizing all calls for help as exactly what they are, except for one thing. Wait a minute. I could see every call for help and healing as exactly what it is, no matter how ugly it was, no matter how mean it was, no matter how pitiful it was, no matter how sick and broke and angry and violent and vicious that call for help was. I could see every call for help as exactly what it is, call for help, except for one little thing. I wonder what that is. What would be the one thing that would keep me from being able to see all calls for help as exactly what they are? Well, I'd be able to see every call for love as exactly what it is, except for this. My own perceived need to attack. Oh. So you're saying that every time somebody was mean and ugly and vicious and angry and sick and broke, I could very, very, very easily go, call for love, call for help, call for healing, call for love, call for love, call for love, call for love, call for healing. Except that I have this one little addiction, obsession, called I love to attack. I have a need for attack. Wow. I love me some attack. Get a whole rush of cortisol in my brain. I get a rush in my brain. I get all these neurotransmitters. I have a need. I have an imagined need to attack. I have an addiction to attack. That's why people's calls for love are not obvious to me. That's why the fear behind their attack isn't obvious. Somebody's attacking, they're angry, they're being vicious, they're being cruel, they're being nasty. And I'm like, that ain't no call for love. That's an act of assault. I'm being attacked and I need to defend myself. I'm reacting inappropriately like that because, and I'm not seeing the fear behind their attack. I'm not seeing the fear behind their ugliness, their anger, their viciousness. Because, honey, I haven't had my attack quotient today. I have not had my big bowl of attack today. Like a Cookie Monster with attack. Me love attack.
So that's a product of our call for love, isn't it?
And that is our call for love.
That's all.
That is our call for love. You know, we're addicted to it because we get this mega rush off of it because the ego in us, because the ego, it keeps our ego alive. The ego's like, yes, I will live another day. I will live another day to condemn all humanity. Woo! The ego is ecstatic. The ego lives on attack. The ego lives on attack. The ego lives on fear. And so every time we attack back, then the ego feels strengthened, alive. Okay? So, and we identify with our ego. We think we are the ego. We think we are the ego. We think we are the ego. We haven't realized yet, oh, I'm not the ego. I have an ego, but I'm not the ego. We haven't realized that yet. So what turns the ego on and keeps the ego alive, we think it turns us on and keeps us alive. So if it wasn't for being addicted to the rush, the toxic rush of attack, well, even though we say it's justified, then we would have no problem whatsoever in seeing every call for love, no matter how ugly and vicious, as exactly what it is. A call for help and healing behind it. A child of God right behind it going, I am so scared. I am so scared. I'm terrified. I don't know who I am. I feel like I'm alone and on my own. I'm terrified. I'm scared. We would see every call for love as exactly that if it weren't for our imagined need to attack. Wow. And so, like you said, Jim, and that's my call for love. Hey, higher mind, that's my call for love. I ask for the correction of my own imagined addiction to attack. I ask for the correction of whatever part of me is turned on by attack. It seems to get stronger in attack. I ask for the correction of that belief within me. Why? So that when there's a call for love around me, I can see it as exactly what it is. A call for help and healing. And so that I can respond appropriately. And so be safe. Because remember, an inappropriate reaction to the situation as it is, that's danger. Responding appropriately to what's really going on, which is a call for love, that's safety. And I would like a little more safety in my life. That's what I'm going for. I want to feel safe. Wow. How does it feel to hear about your own imagined need to attack? Anybody go, yes, but I don't have an imagined need to attack.
I feel sometimes when I have that misinterpretation of a call for love, that, and I get my insanity entwined into that insanity and make all kinds of meanings what that means.
Yes.
And then I have a certain kind of, biological response.
Rush.
Well, more or less like a fear or just like a deep fear that where anger is even though it's not pleasant, it's somewhat of a relief to
Yes.
what that feels like,
Yes,
because it's a feeling of control through righteousness. And really what it is in the primal, it's like being your kids are being attacked, or your body's being, mugged or attacked, and so you fight back. But it's on an energetic, emotional level that has the same responses. So
what's the point?
the point is that you ask, what does anybody have an experience like that?
Got
So
it.
that's what my experience
Got it.
is, and that in the past, I haven't even had a therapist that said once, well, just stay in your anger a little bit, if that's so you don't go to that other place, And I don't know if that was such great advice.
Well, only you would know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's good to remember that even, that when you are in that defensive posture, you're defending yourself because you feel like you've been attacked, to remember this. If you were to go like this, man, my ego is getting off right now. My ego is absolutely just like getting swollen up like a tick on a dog. If you had, I know that's kind of gross, but now you'll remember it. But really, it's like, when you realize that when you're in that anger and in that defensiveness, even though you think it's justified, that you are feeding your ego. You are feeding the parasite that is living off of your peace, your health, your abundance. Because the ego lives on that. The ego is counting on your addiction to attack. It's counting on it. And so when you have that memory, all of a sudden you'll stop feeding that parasite. You'll be like, even though I may be right about this person and blah, 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 I am not going to feed the beast that's feeding on me. Right? So for me, there's a value in remembering that about anger and defensiveness, even when I think I'm right. Yes.
Perfect segue. Seems there's a parallel addiction we have, of course, to being right.
Exactly.
It goes along with the addiction to attack.
Thank you. It is the same thing.
Exactly.
The addiction to being right, the addiction to attack. And
That was
the
the component
imagined
that
need
was
to attack.
But it also occurred to me that one way we could use that addiction for being right to our advantage would be if we could remember that the only right or correct judgment is this is love or a call for love.
I love that. Okay, thank you for saying that. So if you want to be right, we all have an addiction to being right, and you want to be right, then here's the way that you get to be right. Every time. Every time. If you want to be right every single time, then when you're analyzing the motivation, or you're interpreting the motivation of other people, then interpret it like this. If it's not loving, it's a call for love and help and healing. And then you'll be right all the time. And then people will think you're a genius. They'll be like, you're so smart. You're such a genius. Are you psychic? Are you psychic? How did you know that that's what was going on in me behind my, my complete and total rant? The vicious rant. How did you know? Are you psychic? Wow. You're enlightened. You get to be right every single time. If you use the higher mind's one interpretation for all motivation. I like that. Thank you for that reminder, because we do like to be right. There's a way to satisfy it. Yeah, that's valuable. All right.
There is always righteousness.
Yes, anger is always righteousness. Very nice, absolutely, yes.
In your description of our ego there and how it works, is it our addiction to attack? Is that like as soon as we feel separated, if we leave love, automatically to fill that void, here's that
Yes,
attack addiction
yes,
to take the place of.
that's
We
exactly
either
right.
immediately have to return to love or do that.
Yes,
That's the product of leaving, of thinking we're alone.
yes, that is the product of believing that you are separate from source love, absolutely,
So that's why it's cropping up all the time beneath our awareness,
yes,
is trying to fill that void of leaving love,
yes,
or not being aware of it, keeping it in awareness or
yes,
whatever.
thank you,
Because that is our nature.
that's
And
right,
we decided, let's get out of here for a while and see what it's like.
that's right,
All right,
thank you,
That's,
yes,
Something that came up for me was, in thinking through some scenarios where if I'd have viewed it as a call for love and that person wanted safety and I didn't provide that, that I created a trust issue. That not trust in the way that I would traditionally view trust, but trust that I would be able to respond in a way that made them feel safe or better,
yeah.
versus not feel better. or not,
Exactly. I mean, because truly, the ultimate you can be in trustworthy is when somebody is insane and they're acting insanely out of their fear, that you remember their truth for them silently while they're temporarily insane. And now, if you were to remember that for them, then you would be being ultimately trustworthy, where they could really trust you, to not forget with them. Like that's the kind of help I would want, that I do want from my friends, is that when I'm temporarily insane, because I have forgotten that I'm only love, and I'm acting insane, I want my friends to remember for me that I've just forgotten it's temporary, and I've just forgotten that I'm love. I'm just calling for that love. Now, that makes them very trustworthy. That's the ultimate trust. Wouldn't that be great to be able to trust your friends, that they would remember for you when you forget? When you forget that you are love and you are only love, when you forget that you are only love and that you are lovable and loving, when you forget that, and your friends, and your friends will remember that for you. How nice would that be to have an experience of trust like that in your relationships? How nice would that be? All right. So, wow, okay, that went really fast.
Time is up.
Time is up.
Yeah.
That's right. Let me just finish this last two sentences, and then we'll go. It says, "It is only your perceived or imagined need to attack. It's only that makes you willing to engage in endless so-called battles with reality, in which you deny the reality of their need for healing by making their need for healing unreal. You wouldn't do that except for your unwillingness to see reality, which you're trying to hold from yourself." So, in other words, you would be able to see all calls for help and healing as exactly what they are, except for this. It says, you are trying to make the need for help and healing unreal because you are trying to withhold it from yourself. You're trying to withhold help and healing from yourself. You don't believe you deserve help and healing in every area of your life. You don't believe you deserve it. So you're trying to withhold it from yourself, and because of that, then you don't see people's ego behavior as a call for help and healing. I don't believe I deserve help and healing, so I sure as hell ain't gonna see your ego behavior as a call for help and healing. And that's what makes me unwilling to see people's ego behavior as just a call for love, a call for help and healing. But if I believed that I deserved help and healing, then of course I would see their ego behavior as a call for help and healing, a call for love. All right. So, before we close up, any questions on that? Any other questions? Any like, yes, but how do I apply that to you know who or to you know what? All right, what is something that you guys heard tonight that could help your world be less dangerous? Let's cut to the chase.
Every loving thought is true.
Every loving thought is true, and everything else is an appeal for healing or help. Thank you.
So everything is either, an interpretation or an interchange is either love or a call for love.
Every interchange is either love or a call for love. Thank you. What else?
When you correctly see that someone's behavior is a call for love,
Yes.
and you voice that to them, extend that to them, do they obviously know that trust is being built between you and them, or is it intuitive?
No, it's usually unconscious or intuitive. And you don't say to them, "Oh, you're just calling for love."
That's an attack.
Exactly. Thank you for seeing that. My ego is so creative, it's even, used that one interpretation of motivation as an attack, just like that. You are calling for love. You really calling for love today.
Or you need some healing.
You obviously need love and healing.
Careful how you
Yeah, that's an
do
attack.
it in your
So
head.
the
So-
only appropriate response is to shut up.
The
Yeah.
only
Do it in your
appropriate
head, I
response is to offer that love, or if you can't offer the love, sometimes you might not be able to. Your only job is your gift.
Listen.
So you seeing it as a call for love and healing and help, that is your offer of love and help and healing. And maybe you will be called upon to offer that love and help and healing in a physical form, but maybe you won't. But just seeing it, just interpreting it correctly, just interpreting it like the higher mind does. So that's our job, is to interpret their motivation for their behavior like the higher mind does. That's our job. That's what we're being called to learn how to do. Because only in interpreting their motivation the way the higher mind does, only in that way can our own calls for help and healing be answered. And only in that way can we be responding appropriately to the situation as it is and not creating danger for ourselves. So do you see, just seeing it as it is, just interpreting their motivation, their behavior like higher mind is the gift. That's the gift. That's the help and the healing they are needing. Thank you for that. Anybody else? What else did you hear that was helpful?
Well, and I used to find it so much easier to do it with my job.
Mhm.
I don't know why. I don't know. It's not because I'm not connected. Then when I get back home,
Yes.
people you're really close to push those buttons, and
Mhm.
it's like you forget. But when
Yes.
when I was at work in my work environment, it was so easy to help other people
Yes.
because I wasn't connected to their
Yes.
issues.
Yes.
They were.
Exactly.
I was a flight attendant. I mean, I'm dealing with. It was so easy to help them because. But then I get home and I'm like, "Argh."
I'm glad you brought that up.
So there is. You I don't know how you keep practicing. You just,
Exactly.
which isn't
I'm
easy.
glad you brought that up. That you know you're in a special relationship with somebody when it's harder to see beyond the behavior, to see the call for love and the call for help and healing behind it. Where in a special relationship, the temptation to personalize it, to see it as an attack instead of a call for help is so much stronger. The temptation to see it as an attack instead of a call for help. In other words, the temptation to react inappropriately is way higher in our special relationships, right?
well, I'm glad you're saying that because I think it is really hard.
Well, it is, and I'm
With
just
your-
glad that you brought that
Not
up.
even so much friends. It's more
Yeah.
family. I don't know.
It's whoever we are tempted to personalize, like
Okay.
whoever it is that we see as a personal reflection on us. We see our special partners as a personal reflection on us, so we're more highly offended. Our children, our family, whoever you have a special relationship with is the one who you are most easily offended by, because you see their behavior as a personal reflection on you. That's a special relationship, right? So, yeah. So that's why the people that we're in a special relationship with. That's why there's the greatest potential there, because if you can interpret their motivation as love or call for love, then baby, you are free. You are free, free, free. No, nothing, no ego can fool you then.
Not me.
Not you. All right, okay. So why don't we do our did the love offering basket garden? Beautiful. You're way ahead of me. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you guys for interpreting my motivations for behavior as either love or call for love. And whenever you have ever done that, thank you. Whenever you do that in the future, thank you. You guys watching out there, thank you for doing that. Because I do still have an ego, I still identify with it. And so thank you for all the times that if you see my ego, thank you for going, oh, she's calling for love, call for love. She's just forgotten, she's loved. Let's remember for her. Thank you for doing that. Thank you. I know, and the ones I've known the longest, I know you have. So thank you. I know you've had to. All right. So now we're going to do our closing integration meditation. And in our integration meditation, we use the ideas. So we'll just take a few minutes and use them. All right. So I want you to close your eyes. Just take a breath. And just breathe. And just tune into how you feel right now, having heard these ideas. And just rest for a moment. Rest in your mind. Rest in your emotions. Rest in your body. Rest into that quiet center within you where you need do nothing because you are everything. Beautiful. Beautiful. Now I want you to bring to your awareness a situation recently where you were very, very tempted to react to somebody's behavior, where you were reactive, where you were defensive, you were upset, angry at their behavior. Maybe in this situation, you were engaging in a lot of analyzation of their motivation, for why they were doing what they were doing, saying what they were saying. Why were they being like they're being? You were doing a lot of not peaceful analyzation of their behavior. You were just sure you knew why they did what they did, why they were the way they were. And then I want you to take note of how you felt in that situation. How did it, aside from whether you think you were right or wrong, appropriate or inappropriate, how did it feel? How did you feel? Did your interpretations and your analyzations bring you peace? Did they cause miracles to drop like drops of rain on a dry and parched desert? Or did they feed the fury? Did they fuel the fear? Beautiful. Now we're going to apply our higher mind's one interpretation of all motivation of everyone. And now we're going to look at that situation and the people or person involved in that situation. And we're going to speak the truth over this situation or the person in the situation. And we're going to say, every loving thought is true. Every loving thought of theirs is true. All else is their call for the love that they have forgotten, that they are calling for. All their loving thoughts are true. Everything else is their call for help and healing and the love that they have denied themselves. And I want you to, in your mind's eye, see right through that behavior, right through their angry or fearful or sick body, right through it, to the child of God in there that is afraid, that has forgotten that it is loved and lovable. And in your heart, send them love. Send them love. See the love they are. See your love as the love of God wrapping its arms around this frightened child, holding them, whispering in their ear, "You are innocent. You are innocent. You were only mistaken. You are still only love. You are still as love created you." Beautiful. And then when you're ready, bring your awareness back to your own center, your own quiet center. Take a breath, bring your awareness back to the room, back to your body. Remembering that you can return to this oasis within, this holy relationship within, this temple of healing within at any time, in any place. And on behalf of the world that is calling for help and healing, we say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Amen. All right, you guys. Yeah. Nice practicing. Nice practicing. Good job. All right, you guys, back out to the lab with you. Back to the lab, where there's going to be plenty of calls for help, all wrapped in some nice little deceptive packages for you to practice on.